All right, we're going to do some quick basic sermon edits. I'm going to scroll back here a bit so I can find Chris. There's Chris's video. Again, you can use the little zoom in and zoom out icons over here to the left, the plus and minus sign, to help get a little bit bigger picture of what's going on in the timeline. And then there's a little scroll bar on the bottom, which you can't quite see on the recording here. And so this is, I've added in Chris's sermon video. We'll say we're actually at the end of the worship video. I'm going to press play. So they're kind of wrapping up their their music playing. And so I'm going to hit pause here. I'm going to click the scissor icon again to create a small video clip right here. I'm going to right click it and then I'm going to delete it just to get the excess space gone. And then that's going to take me right up to Chris's video. And I'm going to wait for him to get past all of this sort of excess dead space. I'm going to pause again. And then I'm going to click the scissors, right click on this little video and click delete. And then I'm going to click save over here up at the top again just to make sure I'm kind of keeping the saves alive. Now I've got this sort of awkward transition between the two videos. So you can see how abrupt that is. So to clean that up, I'm going to click on transition, then I'm going to click on dissolve. I'm going to drag dissolve from the box down in here to over here. With almost everything in Filmora, you can click the edge when you see this sort of symbol with the arrows pointing two different ways to lengthen the dissolve effect or to lengthen the overlay or whatever it is you're doing. So you can make it longer in the timeline that way. So now you can see this is a slower transition. Looks a lot better.
Good morning, Cedar Springs. It's good to be with you this morning again. Hopefully you are all doing well and you are surviving and thriving. This is the umpteenth week we've been doing this video recorded message, and hopefully these have been helpful for you. I know I've heard comments from many people that this is helpful, and hopefully that is the case for you. We're in the 9th week of
Okay, so just for argument's sake, I'm going to show you how to put in the verses slides. They're almost exactly the same as the captions for the worship lyrics. And so I'm going to click over on titles here at the top left. Custom, you should see one that's saved, titled, I think maybe bullet points or sermon points or something to that effect. So you can click and drag from this tiled area, just like with everything else down in here. And that's going to create an overlay, which you'll see now in the sermon. And then it fades in and fades out. Now if he's talking about a point for a little while longer, you want to leave it on the screen a little longer, you can highlight the left or right edge and drag it forward in time if you want so it stays on the screen longer. And so then this will look like this instead of going away so quick.
We're in the 9th week of a multi-week series called The Kingdom of Heaven. We've been talking about various...
And so this point will stay up on the screen for a while here. And again, you can just mouse over to the other edge, and you'll see that 2 arrow. If you click and you drag, that's how you shorten it. Okay. Now there is also a verse preset that I saved for you under Titles, Custom, and you can click and drag that out there as well. And the verse preset just takes up more space on the screen and allows you to present more text.
A little different aspect of the kingdom.
And so you can see what that looks like there. I'm going to pause. We're going to save again. Now at the very end of the sermons, you're going to have the discussion questions in a slide. And so here's the discussion questions. You can advance the timeline and skip through the timeline just by clicking on the timeline across the top here, where my mouse is. So if you want to get to the end and kind of want to be able to watch and repeat some of what you're doing, you just keep clicking and editing.
So involved in
and here's Chris's sermon. We'll say this is the end. It's not actually. And so I'm going to put in a transition. I'm going to use my dissolve transition, which I really like, to get out of the sermon. And then we have the sermon titles one. Now hit pause if you want to edit a discussion question. Double click on the purple box. It's the same as with everywhere else. And then highlight what you want to edit in text and say, this is my new discussion question. Okay, Now, one thing that's sort of funny with Filmora is that if you keep typing in one line, it keeps getting the text smaller and smaller instead of going to a line break. And so if you have a long line of text, you want to hit the Enter button, and that will create a new line, and then you can go through, you can keep the text in a larger size. And so just keep hitting Enter if you need to put a new line break in there. That's true for verses or worship lyrics as well. Okay, so we'll say that that's my discussion question. I'm going to hit play. I'm using Earth, the Rhythm of Memories from the audio file tab up over here. So you can see the different videos. If you click on Included, you can find the Earth, the Rhythm of Memories is the song that I'm using. You can use other ones if you prefer. Now again, here I'm in discussion 2, so I double click on discussion 2. I can change my text here. Changing my text, question mark. You can always pause if you need more time to make a change. Right there. And again, save frequently. Now, that's going to be basically it for the video editing and overlaying the sermon text. Again, one thing to just be aware of is that sometimes you're going to have these really long verses with a lot of text in them. And so you may be in a situation with, give me a quick moment, I'll give you an example one. In Filmora, what it does is it creates a sort of really long run-on of verse text. And so before I even edit it in Filmora, typically I take the sermon preacher's notes and I find a line break at about maybe a third of the way across the page, and then I hit Enter just to create those line breaks so it copies and pastes into the slides a little bit better and looks a little bit cleaner. So I'm going to highlight that and copy and paste. And then I'm going to go back to that first slide that I had a while ago. So here's my verse slide. I'm double clicking on that in the purple box again. And then I'm right clicking and choosing paste after I've highlighted.
How you're supposed to respond as a result of that. And today I want to talk about a little different aspect of the kingdom. And it's actually a non-aspect of the kingdom.
So you can see I didn't do a very good job with just sort of the width of this because the font got pretty small. So if you want to make it a little bit bigger, you can just add in extra line breaks. And once you have all the line breaks in, it's going to make everything quite a bit larger. So this is sort of sloppy. It's easier in Microsoft Word to make those line breaks. So you can see how that gets a lot bigger once the line breaks are in place. Okay. Now, once you've saved everything, you've got all your edits in place, you've added the little dissolved transitions between worship and between the discussion questions and the preacher and the intro and the worship. The next thing that you're going to do is export, and we'll cover that in the next video.